Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors in Winston, Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a great show lined up. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. High today, 75, low 54, and the water temperature going down to 72 degrees. So it is making that move that we've been anticipating. You know, it stayed around 74, 75 for about 4 straight weeks, but now it's dropping just a little bit. Take a look at our river readings brought to us by Watson's Landing Marina. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown at a 0.6, and the Choctahatchee at Caryville at 1.7. And got a chance to get on the went down to Howard Creek over the weekend and got a chance to check things out, and had a river just is beautiful this time of year, and the creeks and the sloughs and all. And I got a new little 20 horsepower motor I've been trying to break in, and I just started breaking it in. You know, we got to go high speed and then slow and fast. So just been playing around, hadn't done any serious fishing, but getting ready to. But I talked to some guys down there, they've been doing well on the river. So, and I got some pictures from Choctahatchee. So river fishing, again, it's been real good. Hope you get to do something maybe during Thanksgiving holidays. Take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Today is November the 15th, and we have some really good tides today and the rest of this week, some really strong tides. So, I mean, it's really moving up. Talking about a super moon, hope you got a chance to see it last night. It's still going to be bright tonight. If you haven't had a chance, it's as bright as it's been since, I think they said 19-something, 50 or whatever. It's just a huge bright. What it is, just a little bit closer and just more full as far as the light reflecting off of it. A super moon. It won't be this way again until 2034, I think they said, and we may not be around then, so take advantage of it tonight, okay? The marine forecast coming out of the south at 5 to 10. Yes, okay? Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Glad you was on this Tuesday morning. Got a lot of comments and compliments on the two little broadcasts we had with Mike Brudnicki, the Veterans Day. We'll talk about that a little bit later, the interview we did on Veterans Day, and yesterday's fishing show. Hope you got a chance to see that. A lot of fun, and really had a good time, and what a contribution he and his generation made to America and our freedom. So we'll talk about more of that later, but let's look at some pictures. We got some really interesting pictures. Take this first one. Kim Perdue Ellisor. Kim Perdue, her son Shepard. I'll read what she said. That moment you get this text from your son in his ground blind. Okay, they hunt up off Scotts Ferry Road, and her son Shepard is a good outdoorsman. He's in his ground blind, and this bear walks up. Now, if you're in a tree stand, one thing, being a ground blind, that's a little spooky. And Kim and her was in another stand away from him, and of course, you know, texting back and forth nowadays is real easy to stay in communication. Shepard is about 14 or 15 now. I think it goes North Bay Haven, but I think everything ended up okay. Probably, you know, the bear was curious, and if you had any food in there, he might have come in there. Shepard probably already ate all the food, but that's a good picture. I know as a mother, you would be upset about it. All right, let's get some good deer hunting. Kyle Pridgeon got a 7-point. Nice one, Kyle. Okay, got some all kind of pictures. Blake Sutherland, squirrel season, opening day on the river. Squirrel season, there were a lot of folks on the river. They said the parking, somebody told me they couldn't find a place to park at the boat landing because all the campers, it was just full. The river was just full of people camping and squirrel hunting. So I've got some reports. Okay, James Richard Eldridge, he's been on the show before to check out these bass. Good, healthy bass. I believe he's up at Lake Seminole. Nice bass right there. Cody Obert took his little girl shell cracker off the Choctahatchee River. Don't she look happy? Shell cracker biting good. Good job, Cody Obert. All right, this sent to me. He said, Coach, my buddy Brody said to send this to you. Captain Kenny on the Treasure Island led us to this big boy out of Panama City Beach Treasure Island Marina. Jason Smith and lead deckhand Ron Montross reeled in a 42.5-pound king. Folks, that's a healthy king right there. That would win some tournaments. Good job. And then Brody also on the same trip, I told him we're going to have it on this morning. I answered him here. And also on the same trip, check out that red grouper. that was a fine trip right there. It was, that's one of the few offshore reports we've gotten, and it's a good one. Okay, George Jackson, the hog killers. George Jackson right there. And that's a nice young hog. That'll be some good barbecue right there. Good job, George. All right, let's move on over to Stephanie Marshall. On the Gotta Believe, she and her family have that boat, and they always, they fish a lot. Stephanie Hobbs and a nice red snapper. So the red snapper weekend, we got about one more left, so take advantage of it. Heather Taylor, we've had a Taylor family on before. They just had a little baby boy. This is the first fishing trip. Now, don't y'all like this? They got him set up. They got him out of the wind right there. They got him wrapped up on his first fishing trip. I think he slept through it, but good job, Heather. Glad you took him early. Took him fishing with you. All right, now let's go to our next one. Brittany Gale Erdman was in my class 2 years ago. All right, day of May 1st, saw and shot my first hogfish, got 5 shovel-nosed lobsters, saw a huge manta ray, and then got stung by a lionfish. But what an amazing day. That's her hogfish right there. Brittany's a cute, sweet little girl, loves the outdoors. Okay, but she got hit by a lionfish. Check out her hand right here, folks. Look at it. Can you see the difference, how swollen? Look at how swollen it is. Those lionfish, we've talked about it over and over again, how when they pop you now, they'll really do some damage. She was in a lot of pain. She's doing better today. Steve Roberson, meet Reuben James, so named because that's the song in my head when I first saw him. 3 days later, the code blue and a grunt sequence rousted him from his bed one last time. All right, so that's a nice buck right there. Steve Roberson. All right, let's move on to Chris Stanford got a nice buck. Been some good hunting going on. All right, and okay, Lily Newsom is good about, she and her husband do a lot of oystering, but she's good about sending these pictures in. This is just a little small, look how small, and what this is a testimonial to our bay systems and estuaries, how our little fish, they're sort of wrapped up in oysters. A lot of times she'll catch a little fish coming out. That looks like a little triple tail right there. Look how small it is. And that's why it's so important to, and she's good about taking pictures and sending them to us. That's why it's so important for us to take care of our bays, our estuaries and all, because these little fish, these little tiny fish, that's where they're living right now. Until they grow up, they got to have a clean area. Garrett Lillard on a nice red fish right there. Good job, Garrett Lillard. And let's see, got a couple more. We got to move on through. Chris Rushing, beautiful redfish right there. And let's see, that was it right there. I think that wraps it up. Let me see. Oh, I got one more. I thought it was funny. Hal Webb, who's the FWC officer in St. Joe area, up in the garage at Possum. He didn't know. I think he's surrounded. That's an interesting picture. I don't know what the result was, but that was a funny one. Now let's go and do a statewide report on because this time last year we were really hurt by red tide. We're looking at it right now. This was this past week. No red tide up here anywhere in the Florida Panhandle. It's strong, always strong in the southwest part of Florida, but they do a bi-weekly map on the FWC website. I checked it out last night, and it's bad down, like I say, southwest, but none of it up here. So we fine with red tide. Okay, all right. That takes care of our pictures. In fact, took up the whole segment. Let's go ahead and go to our break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let me share this with you. This is, a lot of us do Facebook. People have different feelings on it. I really enjoy doing Facebook. You got to be careful not to overdo it, but I've been able to contact kids from, I went to school with myself, and I have then former students, and I also have and then a lot of viewers on my Facebook. So I'm fortunate to get a lot of feedback, and we just do positive things. Me and my friends don't talk about politics on here. We don't talk about anything but just fun, positive things, and sometimes people request prayer for someone real sick or something. So those are the kind of things I look at Facebook for. But I put the picture of the interview we did on Friday morning show on Veterans Day. I put a picture right here of Mr. Brudnicki, Mike Brudnicki here, and talk. I just wanted the replies and all. It's just some super interested people that enjoyed a great show this morning. But it just down here, Beth Piccolo. She's in charge. She's a Marine herself, in charge of the Mosley ROTC Marines. I just scroll through. You don't look at all of them, but you know, people, here's Matt Spencer. I love hearing the stories of men like that. Thanks for recording it so the story will not be forgotten. And on and on and on. So many people. Then Jeff put the web. If you have some friends who want to watch it, you can go to YouTube. And Jeff put the YouTube connection on here. Sam Rollerson talked about back in the day when he had the Italian in. Anyway, it's just on and on and on. And Mike West, who's a high school classmate of mine, who's a Marine veteran himself, talked about how great that generation was. And it really, so it's just great positive feedback. I hope you got to see it. If not, I know some of y'all DVR stuff and all kinds of things, but if not, that is true Americana right there, right here in the Florida Panhandle. And I need to do a follow-up because after the war and all, I got married and moved down here. They actually started the Italian Inn, and they had a place on Harrison Avenue. That's what Sam Rollerson was talking about growing up here, and they had the Italian Inn. Everybody went to Italian Inn and ate there in the 60s and 70s, and they lived upstairs and the restaurant was downstairs. And that's why Greg Brudnicki, I think, likes to cook so much because he loved to learn how to cook then. So anyway, let's move on. Let's got Thanksgiving coming up. We've got a situation where I wrote down some things last night. On Thanksgiving, you think about family. Then, of course, you think about outdoors. You think about fishing and hunting and all. So all of those. And I just sketched in my brain. I said, well, I'm going to tell all my viewers what they can do in case if some of y'all are new to this area. Some of y'all have been around and just sitting around doing nothing. But here, let's get back to what we normally do on Thanksgiving. Okay, let's do on the family. If you just family activities, let's go over those first. Here's what you can do as a family on this long weekend. You can hike the state park, and Torrio State Park is one of the best hiking areas you'll ever go to in Florida, anywhere in Florida, because it has those hills and ravines, and you're right next to the river. Excellent hiking. You can canoe and kayak. You got so many rivers and creeks around here to get in a canoe or kayak and go from one place to another. Camping. We're always talking about camping. It's been excellent camping weather. And just one thing, just ride in the woods. Just get in your vehicle and just ride in the woods. If nothing else, stop and walk a loop or something and come back. Just get out into the woods. So those are just family things you can do. Plus, you know, all those things you do around the house, like you can shoot a bow and arrow or whatever, but just do some family stuff. Now, if you're hunting and just want to hunt some things, here you can hunt four main things I would hunt. And I can't do all of them. I'm going to try to do one of them for sure. You can squirrel hunt. We always squirrel hunted during Thanksgiving when I was growing up. Always, we never deer hunted. We always squirrel hunted. Then, of course, go deer hunting, and I hope that I'm planning on going deer hunting with my nephew up there in Bristol. The Friday after Thanksgiving, my entire life, I never remember a Friday after Thanksgiving that I have not gone hunting. A lot of times we don't do it on Thanksgiving Day because of family. We used to do it early and come back and eat later, but Mama put a stop to that. Duck hunting. Duck season should be great. And wild hog hunting. This wild hog are really good this time of year. And you got to stop and think. They've been eating all summer. The acorn crop is just sort of finishing up, and they're full of acorns. They're full of all the summer food. Now, in another month or two, there's not going to be that much food around. They're going to start getting skinnier and skinnier, and they're not going to be as good to eat in the wintertime. But in the fall, it's an excellent time. It's not too hot. Excellent time to get some hogs. Fishing. You can go surf fishing. Okay, surf fishing. You go to a creek. You can go brim, shell cracker, bass fishing. You can go offshore and go snapper fishing that weekend. So you stop and think. The biggest problem we'll have is trying to choose what to do Thanksgiving weekend as far as outdoor activities. And you can't do all of them, but just pick out some things you and your family and friends might enjoy doing. One of the things I mentioned acorns a while ago, they are sort of winding down. I can sort of judge it by the tree in my yard, by my driveway. You know, you step on them and count, but I don't have near as many acorns as I had about 2 weeks ago. I still have some, but they're sort of dwindling down a little bit. So it's not, they don't go just like that, just slowly quit releasing them. So that's very interesting. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a break. Before we do that now, start going and planning your Thanksgiving holidays and what you want to do activity-wise as far as fishing, hunting, or family events. If you can, I'm going to, of course, do all three of them. Biggest thing, too, is trying not to eat too much on Thanksgiving. And that's just, I tell myself, that's one time of the year where I'm not going to put in, I never put in limitations on my Thanksgiving. I just pig out. The food is so good. The company is so good, and the fellowship and all. we just eat. Always smoke a big turkey, and then we have, y'all know, y'all do the same thing too. So it's just a really good time of the season. So if any of y'all have anything special going on, don't forget, some of y'all need to send me some things you're thankful for so I can put them on the air. We have so much to be thankful for, okay? We're going to take our final break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. We're going to do our fishing game times, and I really do get a kick out of how many of y'all, a lot of times when I run into some people at different places, one of the first things they say, hey, what's the times for today? It amazes me how many people go by these fishing game times, and I'm 100% behind them. And it happened the other day when we were fishing with Greg and Mike Brudnicki and Bill Allen. They really bit during that 2-hour block, and they slowed down afterwards. And I got a kick out of Mr. Brudnicki. He said, it reminded me so much of my dad. We were catching fish in one spot, and we moved, and we slowed down, and he got on to Greg and said, we should have stayed back there where they're biting. And he talked real loud and all. I didn't have the camera on, but the way he said it was classic of that generation, saying, we should have stayed back there where they're biting. And you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the fishing game time for today. Midnight, 12:12, right, we just passed it, 12:12 to 2:12, right there at midnight this morning. And then this afternoon now, right after lunch, 12:43 to 2:43. And if you're looking at the tide and all, some really strong motion and the moon and everything, so right after lunch, it'll be a good time. Let's take a look. I want to show you this. We talked about this the other day with Becca Nelson, but I want to sort of talk about a little bit deeper and talk about the Grand Slams here with the FWC. This is the main one we do here, the Inshore Grand Slam, which is a redfish, trout, and flounder. And that's sort of a drawing right there, but that's one, what I call a Panhandle Slam up here in Florida, Panhandle. But the others now, interesting too, this is offshore, and I probably never accomplished this one, dolphin, sailfish, and wahoo, okay? And then the Florida Grand Slam of permit, tarpon, bonefish, that's a South Florida Grand Slam, okay? That's not us. Nearshore, which is interesting, this could be done, a cobia, a triple tail, and king mackerel. That's a nearshore Grand Slam, okay? And then the family, this is interesting, family Grand Slam, okay? All three fish in the same category, mainly like grouper, like a black grouper, red grouper, and gag grouper. And that can be done if you get, they're talking about a family of fish, and that's not that hard to do. It can be done, okay? Let me go to the next, a couple of others here. The Reef and Rubble Grand Slam. This is off Mexico Beach. Black sea bass, a gag group, and triggerfish. That's not a hard one to achieve. Small fry. This is for the kids, and they 15 and under. A pinfish, a grunt, and a catfish. That's done a lot. And the shoreline, this is fishing from shore, and this is not hard to do. Sheephead, a whiting, and a pompano. Now I've done that. Sheephead is a little challenging as far as catching a sheephead from the surf. But what you do, you catch that pompano real fast and just go around back to the bayside and catch a sheephead. I may do that pretty soon. And here's one from the bay, South Florida again, mangrove, snook, and Spanish. That's not really applied to us. Now, real quick, I want to talk about she mentioned this, the 71 species. I thought about this all weekend. I wanted to share this with you, the check off, like a checklist. And, they're called a life, in your lifetime of fishing. And we'll start in the left column. I'm not going over all these, but I mentioned them the other day. I just want you to look at them. They're on the website, but the pompano, banded rudderfish, okay, I'm looking at the left column. They're alphabetical. The black drum, all these are pretty easy to get. Now the blackfin tuna will be a challenge, the black-nosed shark will be a challenge, and the blue marlin will definitely be a challenge. Now, okay, now let's go to the middle column. You've got to go to South Florida to catch a bonefish, bonnethead, bull, all these can be caught around here. The Spanish mackerel, cobia, jack crevalle, all these around here. Snapper, you need to go off on a head boat and catch some of these snapper. The pompano, the catfish, gag, all these, the triggerfish, they can all be caught here. Go to next column, the barracuda, amberjack, the flounder, all these are caught here. The whiting, which they call the Gulf kingfish, all these are here. Horse-eyed jack, that's a offshore boat. Ladyfish, a bunch of those, snapper, little toonie, okay. Permit, they're gonna be, okay, so I just look at these and all the different snappers, porgy, spearfish. Sailfish will be a challenge. Again, if you want to Captain Davis's boat, Anderson's boat, snook. That's a South Florida fish. And that's all of them here. Tarpon, triple tail. I've already caught a lot of these, but I was just thinking it'd be interesting. This is fishing for a lifetime now, not in 1 year and all. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna start checking off the ones I've caught, see the ones I haven't caught. I haven't caught a snook or anything, but we may make a trip one day down to South Florida. It's not life or death making that list. It's interesting. I'm glad they got it up there, and a lot of y'all can identify with a lot of those different fish. Okay. Now let's move on back from fishing to hunting. I have got some reports on the hog hunting has been really good, and I also got some good reports on the squirrel. Squirrel season opened up this year, and it's been fascinating. And I was putting some stuff together last night for the show this morning, and I started telling some of the facts to Gail, and she wasn't that interested in them. But anyway, on squirrel facts, squirrel can live to be about 5 years old in the wild. They can, in captivity, they can go about 15 to 20 years. And also on the situation as far as, their food and all, they take those acorns, they serve an ecological, they fit in a niche because they'll eat some of those acorns and they'll bury some of them. Now what's good, that also the raccoons and all can go along and dig them up so they get food. And the third part of that process, some of those acorns will stay in the ground, they'll lose them, and they'll sprout some trees and all. So that they do serve an ecological niche as far as that. The edibility of the squirrel is really good. I've always eaten the fried, but I was looking at a recipe last night, squirrel jerky. I got to thinking about that. If you're a survivalist or something, squirrel jerky could be really good. I've never made it. If y'all made squirrel jerky before, let me know. I've only eaten it like fried or squirrel and rice, but it's a good healthy food you can imagine. But the squirrels themselves are a lot of fun. And if you notice a couple of unique tricks they have, they'll always go down the tree head first. You never saw a squirrel going down the tree tail first. They always do it diving down. And they're predators, of course, they're the hawks and snakes and the big birds and all, but they get away from them with their quickness and agility. So squirrels are fascinating. First game I ever shot was a squirrel. So anyway, squirrel hunting's fun. There's all kind of interesting things about them. So I'm going to wrap it up for today. We've got a big show lined up tomorrow. Got some guests coming in. Hope you enjoy today's show. As always, we ask you to do something good for your fellow man. You have a great day. Always enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.